Wuggle on Galactic Gamers, it's 420 on Modern Warfare 3, and I am bringing you my man, Fearzak, a.k.a. ByrnesRebels21, and he has got a double Moab here on Seatown for you today. And he's doing it with a friggin' HAMR scope. So we're going to bring that to you in high def, and I am going to throw along a little one of my Chroniklog. Rather than do a little color commentary on this one, I would like to talk about the topic humility. Now, most of us live in a Western culture or a Western society and have access to a lot of different things, a lot of different information, a lot of different tools, access to computer and internet. Not to mention we're just told our whole lives as we're growing up, you know, that we can do anything, that we're so intelligent, you're so smart. You know, we're constantly praised. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You want positive reinforcements, you want positivity, but at the same time, there's a flip side to that. There is a balance. And humility is that balance. A wise man once said, "He who seek knowledge begin with humbleness." And it is through humility that we do gain our wisdom. It takes humility to ask questions. If you don't understand something, if you're confused about something, it takes humility to admit that, to say, hey, I'm not exactly clear on this. I don't understand this. And it's when you ask those questions that the knowledge is revealed. Throughout mankind's history, it's always been a battle because man is a being that seeks knowledge. And when man gets knowledge, he begins to understand things. And when man begins to understand things, he thinks that he knows things. Even though man may learn things and man may figure things out, at the end of the day, we know nothing. But the reality is that man, woman, humans, we really know nothing. In the grand scheme of everything, the earth, the stars, the universe, we really know absolutely nothing. And in fact, the great philosopher Socrates said the only thing that man truly knows is that man knows nothing at all. So I always get a kick and a laugh when you watch the mainstream media and you watch news and you listen to professors and all these elitists talk about how they've got everything all figured out and how they know what's best for us. Because they don't know anything. Nobody knows the reasons for everything. Nobody knows exactly how everything works. There's a lot of things going on around us. There's alternate dimensions. There's things happening at a molecular and cellular level that we can't see. And there's just a whole myriad of things that we, as flesh and blood humans, are not capable of understanding. We're not meant to understand it. We're not capable to understand it. We're not allowed to understand it. And that's why being humble is so important. Because you have to just recognize our place here as humans on Earth in this physical realm that we exist in momentarily. Now, humility can also be a very powerful tool, and let me explain. All too often people want to present themselves in a certain manner and a certain way. And a lot of times that manifests itself in boastfulness and a lot of like hyping, where people will come and they'll just, you know, they'll boast about themselves because they want people to know about them, and they'll hype themselves up, hype their business up, hype their work up, hype whatever their hobbies are up, you know, because they want to feel special and feel important. And there's actually nothing wrong with that, because remember, ultimately what we all should be seeking is balance. But now when you enter into a group and people are talking, usually talking about themselves, as I was speaking before, boasting and bragging, and you're the humble one who's sitting there listening, you'll be surprised. You'll pick up a lot of information. But more importantly, by just being humble, you're not giving people a lot to judge you on, which is good. People should not be judging people. And so when people don't have a lot of information to judge you, a lot of times you'll see a lot of their characteristics come out. You know, they might say like, oh, who does that person think they are? Oh, they think they're rich, or oh, they think they're too good, or oh, they think they're too smart, or any myriad of comments people will make. And by just being humble, you'll be able to sit back and take that in, and in turn, you'll be able to rate these people that are trying to rate you, because you'll have the upper hand. You'll know that, hey, these people don't know me. I haven't said anything. I haven't boasted about anything I've done. These people are just hating, or these people are just frenemies. They're not really friends. And you should also learn to spot humility in your friends, or the lack of humility. For example, I had a friend here on PlayStation, and we played every day. You know, it felt like every day. Maybe not exactly every day, but every time I played, we played together, and we had a good time playing. And after about 6 months of us playing together, you know, things started getting friendly or more familiar. You know, this person started talking to me like they knew me, and, you know, and I kind of got a little offended, because the fact of the matter was that we had been playing for 6 months, and this person had never even asked me a single question about myself. Never asked me what I did for a living, never asked me about my family, never asked me about my personal relationships. You know, didn't ask a single question about me, which told me that this person doesn't care. But the total lack of humility led this person to think that just because they'd played games with me for a few months, that they knew about me and knew me well enough to try and make personal attacks and personal comments and try and drag me down. And this isn't the first time I've met someone like this, and it certainly won't be the last. But the fact is, if this person had any humility, then we would probably still be playing together, and we'd probably be very good friends. You feel me, people? So if you're just going to sit there, assume you know everything, not ask any questions, jump to conclusions, and then make judgments based on those false assumptions, you're going to find yourself in a big problem in life. That's why it's always best to just humble yourself and give thanks for life. Because that's the true meaning of life. That's what we're really here for. We're not here to do anything. We're not here to understand anything. We're not here to figure anything out. We're just simply here to just give thanks for this wonderful gift called life. So that's exactly what I do. I just try and walk a humble path, give thanks for life, avoid pride and vanity and boasting and hyping and all those things there. Because let me tell you something there. Two things, really. One is, all those guys, gals, whatever, people out there with their fancy designer sunglasses and the designer bags and their designer jewelry and gold and bling and all that stuff. You know what happens to those people? They get robbed. They get taken advantage of because people want them things there. And let me tell you another thing. Most of them people there with all them fancy bling and designer this and that there, most of them people there don't have nothing else. You know, they might have a fancy car, but they got no gas to put in it. They got no money in their account to put insurance and gas in their fancy car. You know, they might have fancy sunglasses and fancy gold watch and them things, but you go to their house, they don't even have food in the refrigerator. Their their little children is starving to death. Because most people who really have money or wealth, and especially them people who've worked for it, they're not out showing it off. They're not out flaunting it. They're humble and they're smart. One of the most successful men I know was a man had more money than he knew what to do with. and the man trotted around in a pair of slippers, jeans, and a t-shirt. And that's it. And everyone used to say the man was crazy. They said, oh, that man doesn't know anything, that man's crazy, that man's poor, that man doesn't have anything, that man's a fool. But that man was no fool. That man was a very smart, very intelligent, and very humble man. And everything backwards, because most of the people them with the fancy suits and the fancy cars and the fancy things them, most of those people is criminals, and they're corrupt, and they're just looking for people to take advantage of. So think twice before you judge someone. Think twice before you make assumptions. Ask questions if you don't know something. It never hurts to ask questions. Information is power. Information is true power. Power don't come from gun. Power don't come from money. Power comes from knowledge. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little Chroniklog. My man here is getting his second Moab of the game, and that means it's about time for me to sign off. But before I go, I just want to thank everybody for listening. Thanks to everyone who supports my YouTube channel. And please, let me know what you guys think. Leave some comments. Leave me a message. Let's spark a little conversation here. And ask some questions of each other. All right, everyone. Give thanks. Respect. One love.